everyone, and welcome to another edition of Taking Over. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by my tag team partner extraordinaire, almost 1 year in the making on this platform, amongst another year plus on another platform. It's astridpizarro. How you doing?
I'm glad it's live for NXT. How are you?
It is. We got the two Chris's in the chat. We got Chris Perez saying hello. And we've got Chris Best saying hello, good evening, Ed and Astrid. Good evening, Chris. And another great job for you, Chris, going ahead and taking the reins tonight on Turnbuckle Talk, which you can go ahead and watch right after you finish watching us. Carl got called into work, so Chris Best went ahead with OMD and took the reins of tonight's episode in honor of Rob Rage, a friend of theirs who has passed away in the wrestling world. So make sure you go ahead and give that a look. I am going to be going ahead and giving it a look tomorrow morning while I work, to make sure I get a chance to watch it, because it seemed like it was interesting, as we have Papa Smoke saying in the chat earlier, interesting to learn about Rob Rage. But we've got a big day here. NXT had some news today, Ash. We're going to go ahead and, you know what? Parrish is here. And because Parrish is here...
Breaking news. Something recorded.
NXT will have a new home come October 2024. As Astrid, we're going to be moving from USA down to the CW.
Making my truck ready.
Are you excited for the CW to go ahead and pick up for the next 5 years the streaming rights to NXT?
Yeah, I'm a CW person. I grew up watching CW when it was like WB and UPN and everything that it used to be. I mean, from like One Tree Hill to Smallville and everything. So it's nice to see CW picking up something like wrestling now again. at this point. It's interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. Hopefully they keep it on the same night because I like my Tuesday nights in NXT, please. That's the only
Yeah,
thing. Though.
I would really prefer that they not change the night on us because that will throw the entire network into chaos. We got Papa Perez on Papa duty tonight, so I have to be on my best behavior. We'll see. But no, I'm excited. I'm old enough to remember SmackDown being on UPN. Barry said, I'll still be watching it on Twitch as we get neither. Oh, that's okay, Barry. You know what, Barry Monkey? All you need is a VPN. And we've got a... No, I'm just kidding. We don't have a VPN sponsor. Someday we'll get a VPN sponsor, and that'll be great. Because then I can go ahead and really do that intro. I do prefer Surfshark, to be brutally honest. I've had Surfshark. I enjoy Surfshark. They're a little on the pricey side compared to some of the other ones, but I've always enjoyed my experience with Surfshark. For those that don't know, a VPN, again, we're not sponsored by any of them, but a VPN is a great thing because it goes ahead and lets you protect your information, but more importantly, the best part of a VPN, beyond just protecting your information, is telling it you're in a different place. So if you're somebody like Barry and you're not in the United States, you can go ahead and tell it you're in the United States, and you can go ahead and get the USA Network, or you can go ahead and get the CW online. More importantly, for people like us, it gives us access to Netflix in Britain so that I can go ahead and watch Doctor Who for free as opposed to having to spend $15 to go ahead and watch Doctor Who on HBO Max.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, one day we'll have a VPN sponsor, but we should definitely...
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. We got Chris Bay saying, I like this move because if I don't get NXT on Sportsnet 360 here in Canada, I can switch to the CW as opposed to using the Sportsnet Now app, which sucks. Yeah, the Canadian ones are always tough. I assume it'll be the same way. But again, the CW has a little bit more reach. And more importantly, it'll be seen by a few more people because it's network television here in the United States. It's a small network compared to Fox or anything like that. But for me, I grew up on One Tree Hill on the CW. I grew up on the UPN shows with like Moesha, things like that. More importantly, the Arrowverse. I'm a big superhero fan, so of course, I've got the Arrowverse on lock. I am now rewatching the entire Arrowverse from the beginning in order. So I watched all of Arrow, and then I added The Flash, and now I've added Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, and every episode's in order. So I don't watch the whole season of like Arrow. I watch one episode of Arrow, one episode of Flash, one episode. It takes me a lot longer than I thought it was going to because of that, but.
And I'm ironically watching One Tree Hill on Max right now, so.
Barry Monkey says, all the old Doctor Who's are now on BBC iPlayer if you can get that. We can't. BBC iPlayer is unfortunately not available in the United States, which is a great reason to have a VPN. And again, it would be really great if we had a VPN sponsor right here.
I get the message, okay? And work on it.
Perez, Astrid, Bobby, work on that. VPNs. Everybody has a VPN sponsor. We got to be able to get one. Anyways. NXT on the CW coming in October. We don't know what date. We don't know anything else. This is mainly done because it sounds like USA is going to go ahead and try to get the NBA rights deal. And if that happens, Turner's going to be in trouble because the big money maker for Turner is not AEW. It's the basketball rights deal. And if they lose that, AEW better get those ratings up if they don't have basketball. But neither here nor there. Big news for NXT tonight, though. Having the new deal with CW. Sorry, NWA. You shouldn't have done cocaine on pay-per-view.
Good luck.
Go back to your hole on YouTube where you belong. Anyways, this week's NXT was all right. I didn't have the same expectations as of last week. So I think it was a little bit better in that respect as I wasn't expecting as much. I feel like I got a better show. It started great because after we get by the first initial stuff, we get Tozawa coming to the ring. But it's not just Tozawa. My little heart was all happy as if the entire Alpha Academy coming to the ring. Just fantastic to see the entire Alpha Academy there. Otis, my favorite, my spirit animal Otis, man. Love me some Otis, man. He's great. Chad Gable. And then out comes Metaphor. And my heart sank a little bit because I remembered that he's wrestling Noam Dar. I'm really getting sick of Noam Dar matches. Noam Dar matches have the same shtick that Roman Reigns matches have. You want to know the one difference? Roman Reigns matches are at least a little bit entertaining before the basic Roman stuff kicks in, versus Noam Dar matches, which aren't entertaining at all.
Yeah, it feels like rinse and repeat at this point. It's just same thing all over every single time. And it's like,
again, it's fine. We get it. Noam Dar cheats to win. He's the heel. He's got the group. Also, did it feel weird to have 2 4-on-4 groups but not have the numbers quite match up? Because we have 3 guys in Alpha Academy and we only have 2 girls and 2 guys in Metaphor. So, we had Lash Legend stand up to Chad Gable and Otis, and I'm just like, they can't hit you.
No.
I
definitely felt it more after the match when they were holding on to Tozawa, and I could see Metaphor standing outside of the ring and them inside. And I was like, I like how they're even numbers, but they're still not even in the sense of with the guys and the girls like that too.
Yeah, no, you can't do nothing with that.
Yeah.
Barry Monkey says it annoyed me that an entire round was during bloody adverts. Yeah, the picture-in-picture ad break is a pain in the ass. However, I like the fact that we at least get the picture-in-picture so we can see what happens during that nothing round that happens. It'd be nice if they took a longer break during the advert rounds to go ahead and do it. But I like that they keep the match going and they keep the match simple. And you just get a basic rest hold round. In that round, Tozawa, Noam Dar rolls to the outside and they spend a good minute and a half of that round with Tozawa jaw-jacking with Metaphor on the outside, trying to get to Noam Dar. Mm-hmm. Noam Dar goes ahead and gets a cheap shot after holding the tights to get a quick fall in the second round to get the first one, about 40 seconds into that round. It continues going. Akira Tozawa gets the ankle lock submission in round 5 to get his first round in there, and then shenanigans ensue, and Noam Dar wins, and yay, cool, Metaphor is still here. As my note summed it up, same shit, different match.
That's the best slogan for this match.
Yeah, best slogan for this match is
as my family would say, same shit, different day. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. Because even though it's one of those it's still a fun match in the sense of in the ring, the action in the ring though, but the aspects of getting Metaphor being involved and having Noam Dar still retain it, we've seen that already so many times in so many different ways that at this point we need something a little bit extra there, because it's the same rinse and repeat kind of routine in that one. And just it's, even though the match is fun, I think that part of the match is just boring at this point because we already know they're gonna come in, just no matter how they do it, and you already kind of have it in your mind.
Yeah, and the funny thing is they had the right answer with having all of Alpha Academy there, and they still screwed it up. The other thing I'll say about this is I want to see the referee start utilizing the rule that if you get disqualified, you lose the match. Because every week, Barry Monkey, when we talk about an Noam Dar match, brings up the fact that there's a disqualification rule that will cost Noam Dar the Heritage Cup. And I'd love for, at one point, them to just be like, look, we've told you once, we've told you 1,000 times. If your people get involved, you're getting disqualified. If you take these cheap shots like you do, you're getting disqualified. And you're going to lose the match. You're going to lose your championship. And make him have to wrestle a different match. That has to be where this is going. But God, I just wish they would get there already, because this is fucking awful waiting to get there.
He said there's a child watching.
Yeah. Oops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, Memphis. Go ahead.
Speaking of, we have next backstage the Bird Lady talking to the star of the Netflix show Cheer, which I don't know or ever heard of.
I've heard of it, just never watched it, so that wouldn't help.
But apparently it's Gabby from Cheer, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care.
Let me
But the
cheer for
Bird
her.
Lady's here to come to the ring to have her moment in the sun. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. We might as well. But when we come back from the commercial break, we have Kelani Jordan, Ariana Grace, and Katrina, I think it was, right?
Carmen.
That's whatever. The Sword Lady.
So, for a moment when I was doing the notes, I was gonna put Brooklyn Barlow, and I went, "Oops."
No, definitely not Brooklyn Barlow anymore.
No, not anymore.
And then Lola and Elektra come in, storming and going, "Oh look, I have my thing! Yay, I won!" And I'm like, "That's great." I don't care. I love Lola, but I don't care because, like, the breakout tournament is a great idea, but the breakout tournament needs to be done with people that are going to get a push. And for some reason, I don't feel like it's properly utilized putting it on somebody like Lola Vice. Yes. Or, by the way, or Kelani Jordan for that matter. I don't think either of them are ready for the push that type of thing entails. Because this is essentially NXT's Money in the Bank. Like, let's not forget, this is essentially NXT's Money in the Bank. So unless, like you said, they use this to cash in on Raw for the for the Women's Tag Team Championships, it's just going to result in her getting beat by the champion. Okay.
And not only that, but even like getting into like the match in itself, I enjoy the match, but then I kept thinking of like the long run within the storyline, because I'm thinking, if it was Roxanne, for example, with her contract, you wouldn't have her lose the match right the week after she wins. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that will keep her momentum going after winning the tournament. And then thinking, like, comparing it now to Lola. Lola wins, and then now you have in this tag team match, and you have her lose. I'm like, when you should keep with that momentum going to like make her look like a threat to whichever championship she's gonna go for. And I feel like visually, like thinking now, like her losing, I'm like, and that's the one you want her to go for a championship or any of the women's championships? Like, I don't believe you right now, because she literally just lost. And not only that, but if it were, for example, like I would understand if Roxanne and Kelani would have lost, because they're like, let's say, the random team, to put it like that. But when you're tagging with your regular tag partner and you lose like this to a makeshift tag team, that makes me believe you even less. Sorry. It did not help me at all. I like the match though. I'm just thinking like in like the grand scheme of things, that's my thought process. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't like this.
Before we get there, though, we do have Ariana Grace continuously trying to say something and continuously being ignored by everybody in the room as she's trying to say something. Roxanne Perez walks in and she tells her not to make enemies out of the whole locker room, because that means you got a whole locker room worth of people that are going to be able to ruin your cash in. What did she say to her in Spanish? Did you happen to take down notes of what Roxanne and Lola said in Spanish?
I missed what Lola said, sorry, but I know that in the end, Roxanne, I like how Roxanne, when I can talk Spanish too, like she like gave her that kind of pose, and then the girls were like, "Ooh," and I'm like, "He's Hispanic. What do you mean?" I'm like, I
was funny that they taught.
Right, they gave that impression that like, ooh, she can like get back at her. I'm like, of course she can. Hello, but I didn't take notes of what Lola said, but I know that Roxanne's like basically told her like, you don't want to know, which makes me think of like her telling her like kind of like, I'm gonna kick your ass or something like along those lines. And she's like, oh, like I'm going after. She's like, oh, you don't want to know going against me. And that's all she said. But the way like her like kind of pose going into it and the girls' reactions, I was like, why are you guys surprised that she speaks Spanish? I don't understand.
Yeah, it was confusing to
funny.
me, but it is what it is, and it happened, and I thought it was funny because that would be great. We then had Lyra Valkyria in the ring. And you know what? I'm going to say some nice things about Lyra. She got an okay promo here. Was it world beating? Did it make me feel things? No, it didn't make me feel anything. But you know what? It wasn't bad. It was coherent. It made sense. It had a point. And then having Xia Li come out has more connection to the promo, because she's talking about The person who said never meet your heroes, they obviously never met Becky Lynch. And she's continuing that friendship relationship that the two of them have, which ties into Xia Li, who was trying to goad Becky Lynch into a title match before Lola won the championship. How Xia Li attacked Becky on Raw last night, to Xia Li trying to be held back, which was really cool, by trying to keep her from coming to the ring by the security. It was a little dumb, but I like the idea that they're trying to keep people who aren't supposed to be here from the main roster out.
Yeah.
Although that was fun. And they get into it, and they kind of go back and forth a little bit about, and that was junk because Xia Li's not really a name that anybody's dying to see. But it's an opponent she can beat.
Yeah.
It's a viable opponent she can beat that's been built up pretty well on Raw. She attacked Becky Lynch. She kicked the ever-living shit out of Candice LeRae. Sorry, Michael Cole. I knew who it was. I just wanted to do the Michael Cole thing.
Yeah, you got me for a moment.
But I mean, like, they've done a good job making Xia Li feel like she's talented competition so that Lyra can take her down and have a notch in her belt. One of the things we posted on Twitter this afternoon, when we had the video, was who's next for Lyra Valkyria. And I'm actually going to pull up that photo while I let you go ahead and talk about this segment here.
What I think that, like, the main thing that I liked about this is the continuity between Raw and NXT. Because, like you said, we started with, like, Becky versus Xia Li, and Xia Li, like, being in the background while Becky got interviewed as champion. Becky lost the championship, and then Xia Li never got that match she was supposed to get with Becky. And not only that, but, like, we get on Raw that she attacks Becky, so Becky isn't able to be in that Battle Royal for the #1 contendership for, to go against Rhea Survivor Series. So we not only had that connection between, Becky and Xia Li, and even Lyra now being that's, like, the person she looks up to. But it's like Xia Li's probably thinking, like, her mindset is like, I was going to get a title match and I didn't get one. And like you said, I like that part of, like, when the guy started coming in, I thought it was JC Jane at first because I was seeing all black in the outfit. So it took me a moment to realize it was her. But I like that part, like you said, it was like having her stop. It's like, you don't belong here. Like, what are you doing here? And it just, like, it made me laugh, though, because that moment with the security guard gets a little bit closer to Lyra, I was like, what's happening here? Because he's too close to her. And, like, the way that Xia kicks him, I was like, visually, that looked pretty nice. Just, like, how close it was like that. I was like, that looked nasty. And, like you said, that building her up in such a way that you feel like she could be a viable threat, with the way they're building her so far. And I was thinking about that tonight when, like, with the graphic, as I was thinking, because I'm thinking, like, ahead of time for the next pay-per-view, is like, who are they gonna have her face? Like, who are they gonna, like, really show us tonight when she does her promo? Because I automatically knew it was gonna be a promo. Who's gonna answer that promo and interrupt her to, like, build that challenge and get the storyline going? And in a good way, I couldn't think of who, because I knew they were building for the Iron Survivor, so I know they won't have any of those girls get involved yet, because obviously they have to get through the qualifying matches at first. But I kept thinking, who will be one that will interrupt her, and I will kind of really feel like, oh, that's somebody that could be a threat to that championship and to Lyra's championship reign right now. And to see her, I was like, this is somebody that it was unexpected for me, but in a good way. It was like, I was surprised, and I liked seeing Xia Li being here. It's nice to have her being getting that spotlight by herself the way she is right now. And like you said, just thinking back of, like, the kick to Candice too. It's like that automatically makes you feel like this girl's a badass, and she just kicked the security guard the same way that she kicked Candice too. So it's like that makes her already look like a big threat to it, and that Lyra has to watch out for that as well. And I feel like they could easily just kind of in the next couple of weeks kind of mix it up and have her reach out to Becky and be like, "Hey, what advice do you have for me going against Xia Li now that she attacked you? So what was that like for you?" And we could kind of see her. Becky being that mentor still to Lyra as this is going on, but it's pretty interesting just the development that we have tonight between both of them.
Yeah, and I threw together a graphic to try to figure out who I thought might be potential, like, who's next. And so I'm going to throw up the graphic now. Like, I felt like this was a good spread of the NXT women's roster. Like, in the bottom corners, you've got Blair Davenport and Lola Vice. Lola has the contract, so she's kind of an anytime opponent. In one corner, the other corner, you've got Gigi Dolan and Kiana James, who make a lot of sense. They've been just feuding lately. They've got a big, they've been feuding with, Blair Davenport, Roxanne Perez. So they're up there in potential people. You've got Tiffany Stratton, Tatum Paxley, because You know, you never know. I threw Cora Jade in there because, hey, she posted a miss me, thing today on Twitter, so maybe she's coming back soon. JC Jane, Kelani Jordan, Roxanne Perez. I thought it was an interesting idea to have like that kind of just spread of talent that can be like, it can really be anybody because it doesn't necessarily have to be a babyface. It doesn't necessarily have to be a heel. It can be anybody for Lyra because she doesn't really have much of a character. So it could be a Roxanne Perez being like, I deserve a shot, and her being like, yeah, I respect you. I'll give you a shot. Or it could be a heel, and we now see that it's going to be Xia Li, which again makes a lot of sense with the way they told the story. So good on them. NXT did a good job. You're telling stories between Raw, but again, it's bringing in main roster talent because Xia Li is a main roster talent, but it's not utilizing a star from the main roster. It's just a talent from the main roster to keep them on the books, to keep them having matches, to put them in people's eye. So even if she loses this, she can go back up to Raw, win a couple matches, go ahead and have a few with Becky Lynch going into Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, something like that. We move on. We get a Tyler Bate video package. Again, nothing new here, nothing great here, just eye candy for Astrid to watch Tyler Bate for a couple minutes. By the way, I totally nailed that question.
Yeah, you did.
You're like, you cheated. I'm like, no, I got the answer correct. I didn't cheat. I just made sure that I got the answer correct.
You did. I'll give it to you.
Fallon Henley's backstage with Jensen and Briggs. She's going ahead and saying that she's going to go out there solo tonight. She doesn't want them by her side. They go ahead and give her some advice to make sure to watch her back. I mean, she's coming out second. She doesn't really have to watch her back because she can see Tiffany. But,
No,
I like it, Briggs. I like it, Jensen. I like it. Apparently, there's a video floating around of Jensen having some kind of, I guess it's a Journey song. Worlds Apart by Journey. I don't know. Chris Best, if you can help me with this. It doesn't ring a bell to me. I've not heard this song before, but apparently everybody's freaking out over the idea that Jensen might have. If you could give anybody a big name song, like go ahead and pay royalties for a song, would you really give it to Jensen?
That's a good point. I can't really say anything against that.
And then we have Tiffany Stratton making her entrance. But first, we have a backstage interaction between Alpha Academy trying to pump up Akira Tozawa after his loss. And Gulak and Catchpoint University come through. And they start teasing each other. And Otis says, you know what? Me and you tonight, Gulak. And I'm like, yes, I get to see Otis. I love me some Otis. But that's fun. Otis versus Gulak tonight. That got me excited. That was a good match. I was very ready for that as soon as they suggested it.
I think I missed some of that, so sorry.
Oh. We then come back from commercial break where we get the zombie referee coming out of Shawn Michaels' locker room, and he's telling us that there's going to be a definitive winner tonight and that Shawn Michaels told him to, quote unquote, use his discretion on getting that going over that match. And we do have Chris Best going ahead and talking to us about this. He says, yes, it's a Journey song, but if they wanted to make it more recent, they should have done the Chris Daughtry cover version of the song.
Oh, I heard Daughtry.
Maybe the Journey version costs less because of how much longer it's been, maybe. I don't know. But I listened to it and I'm like, it doesn't strike me as like this massive deal that he has this song. Barry Munger said the crowd sounded nearly asleep during most of this. Just a few crowd plants acting overexcited. I believe that was over the.
I think that was around the Lyra stuff, the Lyra promo. Yeah.
So we had an interesting discussion. Speaking of the crowd, where you were talking about how some of the crowd was doing the whole like.
No, that's not what I said.
All right, hold on. Let me get the receipts here. Hold on.
Okay, read it word for word. Uh-huh.
Hold on.
Oh gosh.
And the crowd doing the whole woo clap thing.
That sounds terrible.
I go, piped in, LOL. And you go, but I love how it sounds though. It's gonna make people continue it. To which I responded, no.
I liked it though. It sounded cool.
Uh-huh.
Don't blame me, okay?
I'm judging you right now.
I know you were. I could tell by your brother's tone.
But in the background of the zombie ref telling us that there's going to be a definitive winner in Vaughn versus Bron tonight, Ava Rain goes into Shawn Michaels' office. Interesting. Be excited to see where that goes from here. I'm excited to see where she goes. Like, I'm not like dying to know, but I like how there are these subplots that NXT just tosses in the background. And if you pay close enough attention, you get these really cool things. There'll be one more we talk about later on that we've not talked about for 3 weeks. That's a subplot going on back. We've not mentioned it on the air. We've talked about it, me and you.
Oh, I was going to say, because I feel like we talked about it. Yeah.
We then get Tiffany versus Fallon Henley as an Iron Survivor qualifier. I love this, but because it's Tiffany Stratton, everybody knows what time it is.
All I have to say now is it's Tiffy time.
I'm telling you, we're going to make use of that thing until we can't do it no more.
I know.
I like this match. I thought both girls did great. I loved how they booked the match with putting Fallon over for so much of it. Because you literally told me Tiffany wins LOL. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be Tiffany wins LOL. But it really wasn't. Like, Fallon was in control of 60 to 70% of this match. Yeah. But the absolute best part, there are two great parts of this match, and they're both Tiffany Stratton things. And of course they're Tiffany Stratton things. But Tiffany grabs Fallon at one point and starts walking her to the ropes. And I'm like, oh, she's going to like bounce her off the ropes and slam her. No, she just throws her right through the second and top rope, right to the floor. And she just thuds. And I'm like, oh, shit.
There's a child watching, sir.
That's fine.
Perez, she said he doesn't care.
We see that a lot on Raw, too. I love when they do those things. Like, it was good. Like, this match was really solid, back and forth. And then the other thing was Tiffany Stratton doing the prettiest moonsault ever, but landing on her feet, like rolling through it. Like, she didn't land on her feet. She rolled through it to get back to her feet. But it looks so effortless for her that she's right in position to do something else right afterwards. Just fantastic. As Barry says, it was a solid match with both of them looking like experienced wrestlers. Remember how for a long time there we were worried about, is Fallon picking this up enough? Is she going to get there? Tiffany Stratton looks like a seasoned pro out there right now. And Fallon Henley is coming leaps and bounds from where she was before. I still think she needs work on the mic. I still think she needs a bit of training on talking. But I wasn't disappointed by this. It got decent time. I want to say it got, 6 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there? It wasn't fast, but it didn't get, we'll be honest, it didn't get as much time as some of the other matches and the men's matches tonight. But it wasn't a squash. It wasn't a short match. So good on NXT. And again, NXT, 2 women's matches, multiple segments, multiple women involved with using Carmen, using Ariana Grace in other segments with women to make them feel like a big deal. And in this Iron Survivor qualifier, what were your thoughts on Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley?
Yeah, I did like that it was still like a good balance, even with Fallon taking it, like being in control most of the match. I feel like they had a good balance of showing up both of the girls, which I like. And I like the part of like Tiffany being a heel and focusing on Fallon's knee. She's, that thought process of like, I was attacking the knee last week, so let me continue on with that same part and that same story from last week. I feel like it was brilliant through the whole match, like focusing on that in so many ways. And yeah, I enjoyed both of the girls. I just said LOL Tiffany wins because I know, like, even though I knew the result, the match in itself was great to watch. And that's what I like about it, even though the match was predictable in it itself. I just, I knew it was Tiffany winning at the end. But like you said, I think of like the way Fallon wrestles, and I've enjoyed her from the beginning, even when she was like Tessa Price. I think it was Tessa Price what her name was before she was Fallon Henley officially. So I enjoyed her even then, and to like see her growth already. I'm just ready to like see her in a different kind of spotlight. I don't want to see her just Briggs and Jensen the way she has been. I want something a little more for her, so that way we can see her grow the way like Tiffany has grown, for example, because she has gotten that showcasing and put her in that moment and give her that opportunity, and she has shown out and during those opportunities. So I want something like that for Fallon, because I'm like, we had her stuck for like a year and a half with that Kiana storyline at this point. That I want something other than what happened to her. So we don't remember her as like, her and Kiana more than anything during her NXT time. I know she's most likely not going to be NXT Women's Champion, but like have her be in storylines that are more meaningful than the Kiana one. Is what I would say more than anything. But yeah, I enjoy both of these girls, and I just obviously knew Tiffany was going to win it. I didn't see Fallon getting involved in the championship match for the moment, and obviously this leads to Iron Survivor, which leads to a championship match for the winner. So that's how my thought process was for this. But either way, it was still worth it watching it.
Yeah, and I mean, as we go ahead and talk about that, like, let's remember back to the Iron Survivor last year. The women's Iron Survivor last year was Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, Kiana James, and Indy Hartwell. So, like, it's they had that spot for a Kiana James who isn't exactly at the top of her game at that point. She's a lot better off now, but she wasn't at the top of her game at that point. But she was getting there, and that spotlight helped push her to a better spot. And I was kind of hoping that Fallon would have that spot. But unfortunately, you put her in there with Tiffany Stratton. You need Tiffany in that match because you're probably not going to have as many name women in this match. It's going to be the Roxannes, the Tiffanys. You're going to have those two. But who else fills it out? I think we're going to see Kiana again.
Yeah, I think based on the interaction between Kiana and Tiffany, it feels like Kiana might be part of it, and I feel like it'll be like going off of like that backstage segment, might as well include it here, of like them going like talking about each other, and I like how they try to one up each other in that sort of way, and they're like, I know who's gonna win. Yeah, I know who's gonna win. And it's like we have kind of like a similar kind of attitude between both of them, but a different sense of it in their characters. But I keep thinking like maybe at one point during the match we can get them kind of teaming up for a little bit on it. And then when they pin whoever they pin and that person gets off of the match, have them kind of be like in front of each other. It's like, I know who's going to win. I know who's going to win. They kind of go off on each other to see, who ends up really being on top and who gets pinned at the end. So I would like to see some kind of interaction like that, kind of continue on this backstage segment that happened tonight during the match. Because I feel like it's going to be like definitely a Tiffany, definitely a Kiana. Roxanne will be another one, and just that fourth one. It just depends on who they mention later on because I really don't know. I was thinking somebody like a Cora, but then Cora, obviously, we haven't heard her on TV. She was teasing that she was going to return, but she doesn't really. So, I don't know that aspect of it though. Unless it's Blair, that could be the other one because I don't see Lola getting involved in this either.
And then there's one more. Because remember, there's 5. I think it'll be Blair, and I think it'll probably be GG or JC, something like that. I could see maybe a Thea Hale. I don't want to see Thea Hale, but I could see Thea Hale being in there. Yeah. I think she's earned it based on the year that she's had. I think it would make sense to have like Thea Hale versus Gigi Dolan and have JC cheat to get her in there. I think that would make sense. Wesley's back, and apparently he's a babyface again. I'm glad we spent all that time teasing a heel turn for Wes. This segment sucked. But we spent all that time teasing a heel turn. We spent all that time with him quitting and walking away for Baron Corbin to walk in and go, oh, it's nice that you showed up for work again. You took 3 months off and now you think you get a title match. And I'm just like, Baron's fucking right. Like, who is Wesley to think he can just step to Dominic Mysterio after taking 2 months off and just quitting the brand? Like,
I don't understand why they're teasing, because I think it would be so interesting to see him, even if it's just me, like fantasy booking, because I think it was my friend Shay who planted the idea of like, what if it's somebody like a Wesley that comes in and says like, I attacked Trick because he he got the spotlight that I didn't get to have. And I'm like, that would have been so interesting to watch, especially now that Trick is so over as a babyface. Like Wesley would have been a great heel on this type of scenario. And then to like have him come back and just be the same person he was. And I was like, then what was the point of you getting a break for 3 months? And it's like, I don't understand.
Very Monkey says he's a dickhead now. I mean, he was a dickhead before, so I mean,
Yeah.
not much of a change. I mean, he's been a dickhead since he's been in Impact, but then again, that's just me. But yeah, it sounds like we're going to get Wesley versus Baron Corbin next week, I think. It wasn't announced this week, but I think we're going to get it for next week. I think it'll be something we get during the middle of the week. Bron Breakker says that, the referee using his own discretion means he's going to destroy Von Wagner, and it'll be the quickest comeback that's ever happened. And I'm like, no. I don't feel you there, Bron, but nice try. And then when we come back from the commercial break after Bron Breakker starts to make his entrance, we get a Dijak video package, which was cool. I like this. Again, it doesn't do anything, but it's like Dijak talking about how Mick Foley sees potential in him and he sees the future in him. And it's a good thing that a Hall of Famer can see what Dijak already knows, that he's a talented guy. I'm like, all right, cool. This makes sense. It makes sense for Dijak. The Bate one made sense. And I look forward to seeing the match later on. Newsflash, I accidentally missed that match, so I don't know what happened. We get Von Wagner versus Bron Breakker, and it happened.
Sure.
It had a bell to start the match. It had a bell to end the match. Things happened during the match. Wasn't good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
It was okay.
I have a problem. So, Von Wagner has this massive scar on his face from where he probably had surgery because of the stairs. How does he have a full fucking head of hair?
And so quickly after.
The fuck? Again, I know it's stupid. I shouldn't care about stuff like this. This storyline and drama. I couldn't get over the fact that Von Wagner had a full head of hair. Because theoretically, he had surgery to fix his face and his skull. And he was wearing the stupid thing on his head to cover up the area where he had surgery. And he's got a full head of hair with a ponytail and all. The fuck?
I have no words and no comments for this.
I agree with her. Von's acting was amazing. Amazingly bad, but still amazing.
Yeah.
They take 2 steps forward and 1 step back with Von Wagner. I was more entertained by the fact that I now know that Vic Joseph has gluten-free Albanese gummies that he eats on the in the table. They're fantastic. They're a little expensive, but they're fantastic. That the only reason why I know is because it's a red and white bag, and the gummies are in like a little circle. I have a friend of mine who can't eat any gummy bears other than this brand. So when I go over his house, I have to buy this brand for him. So I know this brand specifically. Well, because he has to live on a gluten-free diet. And you'd be surprised, but gelatin is a problem for a lot of those people. So gummy bears are tough to get. So having a gluten-free option is nice and fun. They don't taste bad. They're actually pretty good. But again, I was more entertained with thinking about the gummy bears than I was the match or the post-match. By the way, Von Wagner put Bron Breakker through a table. Great. Moving on, we got Carmelo backstage. He's being asked about seeing Trick last week, and they show the video where Carmelo looked like he saw a ghost. And Carmelo's like, I was surprised to see my best friend. And I'm like, I don't believe you. And Mackenzie Mitchell's like, I don't believe you. And he's like, no, I didn't attack Trick. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give Trick the answers he deserves tonight. And I'm like,
sure.
You're going to confess, aren't you, motherfucker? You're going to confess. We're going to skip over this because it's Lola and Elektra coming to the ring, and then we have the match with Roxanne and Kelani. We've talked about it. It's a relatively decent match. It's basic. It's not the greatest women's tag team match we've ever seen, but it wasn't bad. It had some time. Ashton's right on the nail, on the head. It makes no sense to have the heels, who are a cohesive team, all of a sudden not being able to work together and bumping into each other to cause the finish of the match. More importantly, you have a perfectly good Elektra Lopez there to take the fall, and you pin Lola Vice.
Thank you. That's another thing that I noticed too. I was like, why would she get pinned of all people? Why? You show me you don't believe in her.
Well, I mean, this is the way that WWE has always dealt with a Money in the Bank. Like, look at Damian Priest. Damian Priest has eaten a lot of L's lately. He's still part of the A storyline on the show. He's still being treated like he's a big deal. But at the same time, he's not winning a lot of those matches. He's losing a lot of those matches. Like he did at Crown Jewel, where he lost clean to Cody Rhodes when he really should have won that match. The only reason he should have lost that match is he was cashing in. And when the match took place after Seth's match and his briefcase was stolen, he should have just won. But anyways, we also get a promo package from the Brawling Brutes outside in Florida pretending like it's England. I know it's Florida because I saw sites that I've seen before in other NXT promos. Nice try, NXT. You tried. You failed.
I mean, you could have done a green screen at least.
But next week we're going to get the Brawling. It sounds like, again, not confirmed, OTM versus the Brawling Brutes. Fine. By the way, Barry says that was bad, very bad. I'm assuming you're talking about the tag team match, but clarify with us just so we know. Oh, he's talking about the promo. The Brawling Brutes promo wasn't that bad, but it wasn't good. Like, it was fine. Like, what they talked about in the promo made a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But, like, again, it just, you know, you could have flown them back to the UK. Like, you could have just flown them. Hell, you could have taken them to one of the many lots, Disney, Universal, and had them put a European scene behind the scenes. Like,
they literally have full sale with that.
From any of those wonderful lots where you can just do that sort of thing. Epcot's right down the fucking street, man. Come on.
It's not down the street, but sure. I mean, Full Sail does have like if you were to look at the back end where you do the line for NXT, like the back end of like Full Sail, it's all like a studio like. And we see them in other promos before. Just I was like, you could have done something like that. Like
Velveteen Dream, the child predator versus Adam Cole happened in an area where there was like a French bistro.
Like, yeah, that's the backside of it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That happened at Full Sail on that backside. Mm-hmm. Like it's a French fucking bistro. Like I get it's not Ireland, but it would have been closer.
Not only that, but there's also like I know there's maybe one or two like stores that sell British stuff. So I'm sure you could have found something with the background that could have been fine with that, like, at least. But, yeah.
Barry says the mean streets of Yorkshire where the biggest danger is accidentally shagging a relative. Like that's like Alabama. Like it happens, you know. By the way, I had to put that through the auto mod on the Twitch, Barry. Because the auto mod on Twitch said that shagging was a sexually related term, and they wanted to make sure it was okay to process. Like the comment makes sense in the terms of what we're talking about, and it's funny, so I'm gonna let it slide. I don't want to say we're gonna do that all the time, but that one was funny and it worked, so I'm gonna let it slide. We move on to Joe Gacy having another weird and somewhat intriguing promo where he doesn't say anything, but again, it's telling us that there's going to be a new character coming. He seems a little bit more deranged, a little bit more weird. Mm-hmm. I'm down for it, but he's starting to get to puppet leader Bray Wyatt levels of just spouting words that don't make sense, and I'm worried. Like, remember when Bray was just spouting words that meant nothing, and it's why they got the Rambling Rabbit character?
Yeah.
Joe Gacy seems to be heading down that rabbit hole. Pun intended.
Yeah, I figured.
We then get Otis versus Drew Gulak. But first, we have an Ilya video package. It was good. It was fine. I mean, it wasn't great, but talked about how he beat Mello and how it took everything he needed to have to beat Mello. Baron Corbin's watching it, and up comes Hank Tank in Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Like, you couldn't find any more random dumbasses to come bother Baron Corbin than these two. Like, you couldn't get JBBJ back in here because at least they have history and it makes sense.
That's
This
true.
could have been Wes Lee coming back and being like, hey, we have a match next week. No, you get Hank Tank and fucking Team BBC back here to come in here. I mean,
It felt random, but I liked that his I forgot what the guy said to him, but I do like his comeback. It was like, "You guys are never going to be stars," or something like that. He says before he leaves.
yeah, I get.
That's my favorite part of the whole thing.
I didn't bother writing it down because they don't warrant being talked about, but somehow they're in the segment. We get that scene that you talked about Tiffany and Kiana backstage talking about the Iron Survivor qualifying, and then it ends with Tiffany going, I like her. And I'm like, that makes sense because it's the kind of person that Tiffany would like. I don't think she trusts her, but I like the fact that she's like, I like her. Her and I see the same way. They both hate Fallon Henley. They both want the NXT Women's Championship. They're not going to work together, but they're not going to work against each other at the same time, which is smart. It's what a smart heel like Tiffany Stratton would do. It's what somebody like Kiana James would do, which is be hitching her wagons to somebody else to make sure that she has, another dog in the fight.
And this is when we had Dante and Boa in the background.
Yes, we had Dante and Boa, who we haven't talked much about over the last couple of weeks, but they've been in the back of every segment. They've been arguing. For those that don't know, and it was only pointed out to me because of the wonderful Dar Amazing, who's not here tonight, but big ups Dar Amazing for pointing it out to Astrid and I, that a couple of weeks ago when they were having a tag team match, Boa accidentally dropped the leg on Dante Chen, and it cost them the tag match. And they've been arguing backstage about things ever since. And this week, I don't know if you caught this part, but Boa was arguing with somebody off screen for the most of it. And then Dante Chen walked forward, and part of his face is done like the makeup like Boa. So they're starting to turn Dante Chen heel or make him like Boa, which means I'm not going to care about him and I'm going to hate him. Fucking NXT bringing Boa back to television. Like, really? You have all these talented wrestlers and you want to bring Boa back? Come on.
Sure. Let's bring him back.
No Boa. Bad Boa. Stop doing stuff. We then get a Chase U segment where JC Jane is pacing around the Chase U thing, waiting for Andre, mad that he didn't help her cheat to win the women's tag team titles like she was willing to do for him. In comes unnamed Italian cousin, who you really should know is part of the D'Angelo family just by looking at these jamokes. You should know they're part of the D'Angelo family, but JC's like, oh, who the hell are you guys? Like, really? You can't.
I'm like, the office didn't give it away.
She couldn't look any more like a knockoff version of Meadow Soprano if she tried. Big Jamie Lee Sigler fan. I loved her when I was growing up. She was one of my childhood crushes. Absolutely adored Jamie Lynn Sigler. But this girl could not look like more of a knockoff version of Meadow Soprano if she tried. She also reminds me of that, like, I don't know if it's Tracy or whatever it is from the Jersey Housewives. I think it is. I don't know. One of my exes used to watch it, and I got caught up in it. It's an okay show. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's okay. Speaking of the Housewives show, did you know Brandy was on one of those? The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Brandy was
on there. Anyways, back to this. they go ahead and drop off an envelope that JC Jane starts to look in, and she sees something, but she doesn't really react to it because Andre Chase walks in and yells at her for opening his mail. And it's not mail, it's just a package that was dropped off, like an envelope. Like, it's not mail, Andre. She can't get in trouble.
Wait, I thought she kind of, when she was kind of reading it, she kind of went like that because she was like surprised by what it was.
But like she didn't like. That was barely a reaction.
I know, but when you said that, I was like, wait, did I miss something?
For her to really like sell the reaction, because as soon as she started to do that, Andre was in the scene, and it was too quick.
Yeah.
But it goes back and forth. Tia and Duke show up, and is like, look. Duke's like, oh look, they're getting along, and JC and Andre are like, no, we're not. We're definitely not getting along. But sure, of course we are. Everybody goes off, and we find out that there's going to be a tag team title match next week. And Duke's unhappy that he didn't know, and this is obviously because Andre owes something. But I love how when they show Andre looking at the papers, there's nothing on them that you can see from that angle. Granted, there's a ton more paper that we don't see. But like, you figured it would be like the whole paper, and it's like going to be a smaller portion.
It's a cover sheet, okay? So it's just in the middle, and that's why it doesn't have a lot. And then the next page is going to have the whole page.
Do you think it's going to be pictures of Andre Chase petting the cat from Crown Jewel?
I'm curious to what the answer is going to be, because I think it's going to be something so silly that we're going to be like, are you serious? That kind of reaction from us. But I just keep thinking, I like the facial expressions between them in this segment, because first we get JC looking at it like, oh my God, like I found out what it is, because they've been kind of like assuming of what is happening between Tony and Stags and Chase and Andre. And then when Andre's looking at it, he's like, and that kind of like acting, you just like thinking of like, it makes you think of what could it be, but at the same time, knowing there's going to be something so stupid and silly, and I'm just waiting for me to laugh when it gets revealed.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Yes, one of my exes used to watch it. I am not I do not watch Bravo on my own. One of my exes used to watch it. When you live with women, you sometimes have to watch stuff that you don't want to watch. Happy wife, happy life. Sometimes you just watch things you don't want to. Every now and then, that's the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Especially when you live with someone from Wisconsin. Anyways, moving on. We then get Dijak versus Tyler Bate. I'll be honest, I got up during this match and I missed it. Ashley, what happened?
I don't have a lot to say on this one. I mean, it was
won? I don't even know
Dijak
who
won.
The match.
Yeah, it was Dijak at the end.
Okay, so Dijak won. Okay, cool. Dijak wins. How did you miss a Tyler Bate match?
I was on an important phone call. Hi. I was watching but not taking notes. There's a difference, okay? Don't at me.
We'll have to go to the comments where we have Chris Best saying, "Yep, my girlfriend made me watch Big Fat Greek Wedding 3."
That's it. You have to have a bigger list than that.
I'll be honest. I watched what is it? The No Strings Attached a couple weeks ago. Not the greatest movie in the world, but it was kind of funny. Things like that. Sometimes you gotta put up with watching stuff that you don't want to. Like, for instance, I'm going to watch The Marvels. Just kidding.
Liar.
But I am going to see The Marvels Thursday night. I'm very excited. Thursday night is going to be my Marvel night. I've got a 6:30 showing. By the way, we're honestly just filling time because neither one of us watched Dijak versus Tyler Bate. I've got a 6:30 showing of The Marvels, and it's a place about 45 minutes away. The Marvels is a 98-minute movie. So that means the movie will be done just after 8 o'clock. The theater is about 45 minutes away from my house, which means I'm going to be home just in time to watch Loki as it airs for the season finale, so I don't have to be behind, so I don't have to worry about spoilers. More importantly, Andre's not seeing it till after Loki starts, so I'll be able to spoil things for both Astrid and Andre.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Astrid, are you going to be joining us this Sunday for our review of The Marvels? Yes, this is me putting you on the spot to ask you because we've got nobody else.
I'll
We
get back to you.
had talked about it before about you joining us for this, so it's not like you didn't know that it was coming.
I know.
Let me know later on. I just want to put it out here right now. Fans can kind of push you to make sure that you go ahead and watch it.
I can see that.
Speaking of the match, he says, I watched it. It was a match between two quite mismatched wrestlers and it flowed badly. I'm surprised because Dijak wrestles well with little guys and Tyler Bate wrestles well with big guys. So
I'm just saying, like,
that the two of them
I like the way Barry describes it, though. I didn't watch it, but I like how you described it, though. I feel like I like the wording in itself.
No, but I mean, I like how Barry is blunt and honest. Now, granted, Barry's not the greatest judge of wrestling because he thinks Impact is high quality wrestling. So, you gotta give Barry a little bit of a break here. He's watching much more upscale wrestling here this week. So, I'm just teasing Barry. I love Impact. Impact's great. We then have Mello coming out to the ring, and he's going face to face with Trick Williams. This was good. I like this.
Yeah.
I like how Mello kept cutting Trick off. Yeah, I was waiting for that at some point. Barry, we do greatly appreciate you staying up late with us every week. We really do. I feel bad for whatever job you have. Oh, look, Astrid, you made hearts.
I don't know how that happened. That's the third time I've gotten something like that. Wait, we have to make it happen again. I don't think. Oh, I did.
What hearts are Astrid?
I don't know how that happened.
Back to girlfriends making us watch stuff. She also made me watch The Crow, which I actually like. Crow's a good movie. It's a little older, but The Crow's a good movie. And then she made me watch Heathers, the Broadway musical, not the movie. Ooh. I haven't seen the Heathers yet. I don't know if it's any good. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get to something that was good, which is Trick Mello here. It was great because Trick apparently doesn't know who attacked him. Or if he does, he's playing off like he doesn't know. And Mello seemed very excited that Trick didn't know who attacked him.
Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't know who it is?
And then out comes a very interesting third party. And I don't think he's the one who did it, but I'd like it if he did, because I think it would add a lot of intrigue and bump up the feud level here. Lexus King comes out. And I like how he immediately starts talking, and Mello's like, dude, you need to get out of here and shut the hell up. You don't belong. And then Trick pops up, and he goes, oh, I love this because he said it twice. The grown-ups are talking, young man, so go sit back down. Like, I love Trick because, like, this kid's been involved in the wrestling business for longer than Trick Mello have combined because of his dad. But I love the idea that he's the young kid because he just got here. And he ensues or tries to put out the point that maybe somebody new, somebody who's not been here a while, somebody who's brand new to the property might have attacked Trick to make a name for themselves and get them in the main event picture. And I'm like, I know you didn't do it, but I like the idea that you're telling us you might have done it.
Yep.
Because honestly, I expect to see a match between him and Trick within the next week or two. Probably an Iron Survivor qualifying match where Trick wins. Because I think we're going to get both Trick and Mello in that Iron Survivor.
Yeah, that would be super interesting.
I do think that would be super interesting. Especially if they have, and this is how I would do it, have Trick pin Mello at the end to go over in that match. I think that's how you do it. We get Chris Best saying, I love Lexus planting those seeds of doubt and Trick. I agree. He didn't need to be the one who does it, but I like the fact that he's not afraid to be like, yeah, I could have done it. Maybe I did. Maybe I came right out here and talked to you and told you I did. Also, I love that he's trying to not look at his jacket and put his sunglasses in to realize he doesn't have a pocket. Like he has a fake pocket there. So he just throws them on the mat. Barry Mungus says, Trick Mello weren't bad, but Pillman's awful on the mic for me. No excuse for inexperience. He's been on TV long enough. I disagree. I thought Lexus King was really good in the mic in this one. I thought he got his point across without having to say too much. I feel like he got in the digs just enough because he's not supposed to be, like we said. I like the idea that it's seeds of doubt. He didn't do it, but he's putting it out there that he might have done it because this levels him up from going against Dante Chen, and it skips working that mid card with Dominic and Wes and things like that. And it can put him in that world title contention so that he can win the breakout and be a viable winner. Unlike Lola Vice, unlike Kelani Jordan, you can have guys like Lexus King in this breakout tournament, and he'll feel like a viable winner coming out of it that he could cash in on Ilya Dragunov and win. If you catch Ilya on the right night after the right match, you could beat Ilya Dragunov. You know, maybe he has a hard-fought match at Stand and Deliver, and then on the next NXT, Lexus King comes out and goes, yeah, now I'm cashing in tonight, me and you, in the main event. You can put the title on Lexus King on a big NXT like that would be. Or maybe he saves it to next October. And on the premiere episode on the CW, you have him cash in on the champion. Because remember, WWE is not one to shy away from swapping a title on the debut to a new brand. Can anybody remember what happened the last time a new show went to a new network? Poor Kofi.
We're not worried. I was going to say the Dream has no memory of that.
18 seconds. Brock Lesnar destroyed Kofi Kingston on the debut episode of SmackDown. All to build for a match against fucking what's his name?
Was it Kane, right?
Cain Velasquez, yeah. Ray's Big Dominic.
But I did want to go back to as well to like the back and forth between Trick Mello during this whole thing, because I love how Trick does have a great argument against Carmelo. Of like he's like Carmelo says like whenever I won, you won, and he goes exactly whenever you won. It's like what about the moment that I want to win for myself? And he's like and I wrote it down because I like the back and forth and the lines they had here. He's like, you have the ball, you're the one taking the shots, but when is Trick going to be able to do it? And then I like how Carmelo goes, well, everything Cena told you, I told you that before. Like, I know you're one of those people that have a potential to be even better, like great performer. And then he's like, you've had your moments in your main event. It's like, I want mine too. Like, I want my moments for himself. And I like that back and forth they had within each other. They're of like, you had your time. I want my own too. And you had your shine, but I want my own shine and glory too. And it's like, when you have it, it's me backing you up. And when I have it, you're going to back me up. And I was like, oof, I love this so much. And they also announced before this too about the Hall of Famers that are doing the Iron Survivor. The only thing I didn't like was like I liked it better when they had them at the desk, kind of bringing up the person and kind of do like a profile on them like they did last year of like, yeah, Roxanne has been great. And then they show like her accomplishments through the time before they get to the Iron Survivor. And this time, at least for this one, they only had Mick Foley talking about Dijak and Tyler, Fallon, Henley, and Tiffany the way he did. But it wasn't a discussion. It was just him being, I like these people, so I'm going to put them in there. And then one of the lines that they mentioned during this part too is that they said, oh, it depends on their body of work or if they believe they can be champions. I'm like, what do you mean you believe they can be champions? I'm like, you believe in somebody and the rest of us probably don't believe in them. Like, what's the point in that? And then I think if I'm not mistaken, they announced Lyra, Lawler, Mick Foley, and JBL for this too.
Yeah. So next week we get Lita's decisions. And then we have to have Jerry Lawler's opinion on a women's division. That's a bad idea.
Yeah,
that's a bad idea. I don't like that, but it is what it is. Going back to this, to a statement I made, Dominic is not mid-card, damn it. He's main event Dirty Dom, the world's biggest wrestling star. Sure he is.
There you go.
If mommy wasn't with him, nobody would give a shit. He'd just be the world's most punchable face. And then we have Chris Best saying, don't remind me, Ed. Oh, don't worry. I'm never going to let people forget about Brock Lesnar destroying Kofi Mania in 18 seconds to build to a match in Saudi Arabia with Cain fucking Velasquez. Just come on, like Cain Velasquez. Remember, that's what you got on the main event of SmackDown the night that they went there. when they had Baron Corbin being chanted STD by the crowd because Becky and The Rock made that statement go. By the way, Baron Corbin said in an interview with Chris Van Vliet that he still gets the STD chant in random places, including the airport, which is fantastic. He says that's great. He loves it, but it's just great. But no, and then Lexis King starts goading Trick just enough that Trick goes ahead and takes a shot at him, and he cold cocks Carmelo Hayes right in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And Lexis King runs away, and he's smiling his ass off. And eventually, Melo lets Trick pick him up. But did you see the look on Carmelo's face?
Oh, priceless.
It was definitely a look. But I want to bring up a friend of ours, the wonderful Victor Taylor Perry, the leader of the wrestling club, great man. Also, big fan of Carmelo Hayes. We all know that. He says this, y'all don't understand. Melo is going through it right now. He lost his championships. He's questions if it's him who attacked Trick. Trick was attacked. Just his best friend was attacked. Melo being accused of attacking Trick. Relationship with Trick is rocky. Random opponents coming left and right for him. I'd look like this too. Sheesh. Like, I love that idea of people trying to defend Carmelo. There's no defending it.
Yeah.
It's going to come out that Carmelo did this. And again, if it's not that I think that it makes more sense to have Carmelo be the one who did this. As much as I love the idea that it's Shawn Michaels doing his old storylines over again with people that he believes in. Doing the fall down, pass out segment with Roxanne Perez because he believes in her and thinks she has it in her to be a star. Doing this segment, the him and Triple H thing that got him back into wrestling. This is the feud that ended up getting him back at Survivor Series when he came back after 5 years on the shelf. Giving that to Trick and Carmelo. That's praise from Shawn Michaels. He's giving some of his best storylines of his career to people he believes in. Yes, is it using old things over again? I agree. It is totally that. However, it's respect from HBK for the people that he's using in these segments to be those guys, to be those girls, to be the voice of what Shawn Michaels was. And I think that's an important thing to distinguish here is that it means that he believes in them. And hopefully, if he believes in them, Triple H will believe in them. And if Triple H will believe in them, they might not get done dirty on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
But that was NXT this week. And a little bit of oddball stuff. However, we do want to let you know that in 2 weeks from now, we are going to be having the Taking Over anniversary where I took over Taking Over. So we're going to go ahead and we have a very special video package. It's going to be 1 year of the two of us doing this on Tuesday nights, Taking Over. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. But Astrid, I want to go ahead and put up a graphic and I want you to go ahead and tell people what this is.
Oh, I was going to say, what graphic? This is for anybody that shops in the shop. You can scan the QR code. I do have my link on social media as well. This doesn't cost you anything to put it like that. And the easiest thing is that once you scan the QR code, the prices are going to be the same. The only thing is that by using my QR code, I do get a percentage of that. And obviously anything that I get from that will be towards anything that I use towards my YouTube channel and things like that. Not only for like people like Ed who are on my YouTube channel and Mel as well who are there in there when we do Ladies Fashion Showcase too. So obviously it makes no difference to you. The price is the same. So just say support us as you can and just scan the QR code whatever you shop.
Like I said, like Ashley says, it's a simple thing. It's just like using our code for Rogue Energy. It doesn't cost you any more. It just gives us a little bit, for this case, it gives Astrid for the Rogue Energy link, which I'm going to put up right on the screen right now. It goes ahead and gives us a little bit of it on the back end to be able to go ahead and you get the same things you're going to get if you're shopping at WWE Shop. Because you know what? We're all wrestling fans. We all like to buy stuff, and most of us are WWE fans. And Ashley got the LWO shirt. Parrish gifted me that wonderful Kevin Owens shirt. All kinds of great stuff. But make sure, if you do need a kick in the butt with your energy, You go to wwenxt.com. You download the app. You scan the QR code, whatever it is. But make sure that when you do, you put in the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. OLEPODS to get 10% off your order of Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is a healthy alternative to your favorite energy drinks. If you like it in cans, if you're in the United States, we got you. If you're around the world, go ahead and get the tubs. Tubs are good. You get more out of it. You pay a little bit more, but you get to make your own, and you get to make it as strong or as weak as you want. So you go ahead and get that balance. So make sure you go to rogueenergy.com. The best part is they taste great. People here at OLA love them. Mel likes the orange, the blood orange. Chris Best likes his blue raspberry. I'm a big fan of the sour watermelon. Chris Parrish likes them all, so you can go ahead and definitely get it. So go ahead and do that. And again, like I said, use the promo code LEPODS just to support us and save yourself 10% off. We got Barry Monkey saying, I sat and watched all this week's NXT, which for me is a sign of a good show. Well, there you go, Barry. Thank you for saying that. I greatly appreciate it. I tease Barry because of the Impact stuff, but I greatly appreciate his point of view because he has a different point of view, not being a fan of NXT, not being somebody who watched it week in and week out through all the glory days. And if you want to talk about the glory days of NXT, me and Ashton have got something coming up very soon. Hopefully we'll have an episode in December. If we don't have an episode in December, I guarantee we will have it at the start of the new year. Talking Takeover, where we go ahead and we go through all of the takeovers, starting with NXT Arrival, even though it's not technically a takeover. It's the first premium live event that was on the WWE Network, and we're going to go ahead and go through all of the NXT takeovers. We're going to rewatch them, and we're going to review them again. So you get to watch great moments like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You get to watch great moments like Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. You get to watch great moments like Finn Balor and Samoa Joe winning the Dusty Cup. DIY. The Revival. American Alpha. So many good things that happened in NXT's past. Also, we're going to go into some of those and see some stars that we know now, but a little bit before. Baron Corbin as the Lone Wolf, where the crowd was counting along with his matches. All kinds of good stuff on Talking Takeover, and that will be debuting soon. And it'll be probably a bi-monthly thing. It'll be a recorded show where me and Ash will just go ahead and record our thoughts and talk about it. And one or both of us will probably be in the chat on those shows. They might be live depending on what we can afford and what we can do, because Astrid's a busy lady. And speaking of being a busy lady, Astrid, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on X and Blue Skies, Astrid Pizarro, and Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. Everything else will be on my YouTube channel, which is still Astrid Pizarro. And like it was announced, I think it was over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I do have the new shirt on for you, where we have the link. It's on my social medias as well, so you can get a shirt or a hoodie with the new design if you like my pose, especially. There you go.
I would love to get one of these. However, they don't make it in my size. It's a problem I have with For You Wear. I've tried it before with the wrestling club stuff. They just don't make it big enough for me. But you can go ahead and find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find all of my content simulcast on edfries2002. You can also find my gaming content. Brand new season of Marvel Snap means I'm going to get back into playing Marvel Snap again. I'm going to be doing some gaming streams. Also, for me, you can catch me tomorrow night right here on our local establishment as me and Parrish go one-on-one in 4 more weeks of Wrestle Draft, as I am the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Wrestle Draft. So you can go ahead and catch me and Parrish doing that on Wednesday. You can catch me here with Astrid every Tuesday. And you can go ahead and catch us this weekend. There will be 2 episodes of Marvel Talk as we talk the Loki finale, which airs this Thursday. So either Friday or Saturday, we'll have that episode. And then sometime on Sunday evening, it'll be me and Andre C. as we talk all things Captain Marvel 2, or the Marvels, if you want to call it that. And hopefully, we'll be joined by this lady, if she can go ahead and see the movie this weekend.
And you call me a busy lady.
I only have 2 shows. I'm not that busy.
Sure. There's 3, but okay.
Barry Monkey says, lots of great wrestlers, and Johnny Gargano. Yes, there's lots of great wrestlers, and Johnny Gargano is one of them. Apparently, Barry's not a big Johnny Gargano fan, but there's going to be some fantastic stuff on Talking Takeover. I am very excited to get that show off the ground. But For myself, for the natural astridpizarro, this has been Taking Over, and we will see you next week. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching me.